Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Hi, I'm Miss Karen from the Kenosha Public Library, and today I thought we would have a really cool 5-minute Friday fun. So it might take a little bit longer than 5 minutes, closer to 10, maybe 15, depending on who you are. So what you're going to need is an old t-shirt. Any old t-shirt will do, does not matter at all. And we are actually going to make these cute little bags. You can have the ties on the inside, and that's a cute little bag that someone can carry, or you can have the ties on the outside, whatever you prefer to do. So we're gonna start by actually cutting off the sleeves. So I'm just gonna show you that. And what else you'll need is a ruler. This is a ruler. And how about a washable marker? We'll get to that one in a minute. And what inspired me to do this is this book called Gabby and Grandma Go Green. It's absolutely very cute. They make a bag in there too, but this one is a no-sew. So really you just have to cut off the sleeves. And I found that it is easier to turn the shirt inside out to do this all to begin with. And then you can decide when you get done how you really want to cut it off. So just cut your sleeves. You can do them 2 at a time, but I'm doing 1 at a time. Just make sure it's nice and flat, and you want to make sure that you get that extra seam off there, because you really don't want that seam on your finished product. And you don't have to be perfect here. It is not a contest. Nobody's looking at it. You're going to use it to go to the grocery store or possibly to the library. So 1, see, not very neat, not very pretty, but we can always trim that later. And I suggest you use a fabric scissors if you have one at home. That's usually a little bit better. So since I missed that one, I am going to kind of trim that off just a little bit, just so you can see that you can just trim it afterwards. It's not a big deal. Then next, you can just take a bowl if you want to trace a line around the neckline, but I found it pretty easy just kind of cutting through part of the neck and then just following the line around. It's much easier. So basically I just cut it, see that, and then we're just going to cut around the neckline. Very simple. Your kids could do this too. Anyone that's a little more proficient with scissor skills. And it's great practice for them, cutting on a line. To just kind of follow that line around, and there you go. Not perfect, doesn't have to be. So then your next step is to take that shirt and lay it out nice and flat, and however you find easiest to do, usually with the seams if they line up nicely, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So you're going to take that flat and you're going to decide how big you really want to make it. Now, I brought a book here, which is great. So I'm going to put it this way, and I'm going to draw a line right at the bottom of that book. Let me lift it up so you can see. So about there, you want your fringe to be a little bit longer. You don't want it to be too short, because otherwise you won't be able to tie it. And the kids, anybody who can tie a knot, can do this project. Very, very, very simple. So you can take a washable marker, which in theory should come off, and you're going to take your book and you're going to measure where you want it to go. And then you're just going to draw a line on one side of your t-shirt. And basically that is your cut line. So then you take your scissors and you cut 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Now, if you want to with kids, you can mark it out, mark little lines where you want them to cut. That's perfectly fine. I personally like to just eyeball it. I think it's a lot easier to just say, okay, that's about 1 inch, and then I'm going to come up to that line, like that. And then you're going to cut all the way down the material. But for my purposes today, I'm only going to cut 3, and I'll explain why I only want to cut 3. I just think for our purposes in demonstrating how to do the knots, it's just going to be easier if I cut 3. I might do one extra one. And like I said, you can make them as thin or as... So what you want to do is then you want to take each individual set and tie them in a knot. Now, I suggest you make your knots pretty tight. I think the tighter it is, the better it is. On our site, and we're going to link the link for the instructions, how I did this. So I'm basically going to do 3. I'm going to start off doing 3. So I tied 1, now I have 2, and then I have number 3. So you just tie it in knots. Now, the next part is a little tricky. So what you do is you actually take, if I remember correctly, you actually take 1 from each of the middle, one of the middle, one's gonna go this way, one's gonna go this way. So for the end, I kind of just did, I took 1 from the middle, whichever way you wanna go, either the top or the bottom, you know, whichever you feel is the top or the bottom, and take the one that's closest and just tie a knot, because what's gonna happen is, see that wonderful little hole that we've made there? This is gonna cover up that hole. Now, it's not perfect. My first one I did, I tied it in a million spots because I kept having holes. I did use like a 2X t-shirt, so it was quite large. These are just some kids' shirts that I found at Goodwill. And if your kids have any old shirts, you can do that. So take 1 from this 3rd one, and again, just tie it in knots. Tie it nice and tight. The tighter you tie it, the tighter it'll be, and it'll be a closer weave, and then you won't see as many holes. And then what you're gonna do is, you see, this is your 3rd one, you still have 1 left. So then you cut 3 more, or you can cut the entire thing, however you wanna do it. And when you're done tying this one, then you're gonna take 1 of these from there and just keep tying down the row. Okay? Very simple. Thanks, we'll see you.